Narcissism is not a synonym for asshole. I think the way this term is used, and it's used a lot these days, I think generally people use it uh, as kind of a more sophisticated sounding way to say obnoxious prick. And that's not really what the term means. And I think if people really had a good grasp of what the term means, and when I got a really good grasp of what that term means, it explained everything. It explains all of the behavior that you're seeing out there that it seems so confounding that it's just like, why are people acting this way? Why are they thinking like this? Why are they so unreachable by just conversation? And why do I know I'm talking? It's just, why don't they seem to be hearing this? And if you understand it, what narcissism really is, I think it just makes all of this make so much more sense, and I think it helps uh, grapple with it and deal with it, right? So it, here's the sort of description of narcissism that I think uh, works really well. Okay, so narcissism is a developmental issue that makes the person incapable of relating to any perspective other than his own, right? So incapable of relating to any perspective other than his own. What is in his head and the world on the other side of his face is experienced as one thing. Other people have perspectives and opinions. The narcissist apprehends the world as it is. And this means that not agreeing with him makes you wrong and intellectually inferior to him by definition. And not conforming to his conception of what is good and moral makes you bad and immoral, morally inferior to himself by definition. And this is kind of the most frustrating part with dealing with these people, is that you can't reason with them. It's kind of pointless, because being able to reason properly, effectively, excuse me, requires the ability to relate to a perspective that's different than your own. You have to be able to go, okay, from that person's point of view, he sees what he's looking at in this particular way. Maybe there's something to that I haven't looked at or haven't considered, right? Narcissists can't do that. It's not that they are being obnoxious. They're obnoxious, don't get me wrong, but it's not like they're going, I'm not going to do that. It's that what you're saying doesn't register with them as that's a potentially valid other perspective, because all they can relate to is what's in their own mind. When they wake up in the morning and open their eyes, the world is what they're seeing, conceiving of, interpreting, their ideas, their preferences, their biases. That is the world, as opposed to understanding that as uh, the way I'm interpreting the world in my head, based on all of my experiences and personality type and my own, you know, intelligence or education and all these other factors that are shaping my interpretation of the world out there on the other side of my face. That's not what they do. They wake up and the world is what's in their head. Like a way to think of it is, imagine a base camp with, a mountain, and we're going to climb the mountain. And you leave your base camp at 7 in the morning and you start climbing the mountain. And for the first portion of your climb, the ground is very mossy and wet and muddy, and it's hard to get a good footing. It's very slippy. And when you look around, all you can see is thick, dense forest. And that's like that for this portion of this climb that you're doing. It's just the same thing. It's all like this thick, dense forest. But eventually, you get above the tree line, and the ground becomes firmer, becomes more rocky. You get a good foothold, and you can look out on this vista with the trees below you and see these plains stretching off to the horizon, and then way off in the distance you can see the ocean. And so now uh, the next guy, he wakes up a bit later than you, an hour later, and he starts climbing the mountain. And he's climbing up, and he's looking at the ground beneath his feet, and it's mossy and wet, and he's slipping and hard to get a good foothold. And everywhere he looks around him, it's just thick, dense trees. And you call down to him from your vantage point, and you say, "Hey, it's great. What I'm seeing is the trees below me, and this beautiful vista, very clear across these plains. You can see the ocean way off in the distance." And the guy below you yells at you, "You're nuts. I'm looking around, and what I see is trees, and it's wet and damp, and it's all there is. You're crazy. Why are you lying? Are you evil? Are you trying to mislead me for some reason? Are you hoping that I don't continue uh, the climb, and that I go off in the wrong direction? Are you gaslighting me?" That's the narcissist, right? So he's not uh, choosing to be obtuse. He's not choosing to not agree with you for the sake of it. He can't conceive of a perspective other than his own. And that's what you're dealing with. And I think once you get that, everything makes more sense.